And the Prime Minister tells police to be on high alert this weekend. It comes as more rioters appear in court to be sentenced, including the first of those charged for posts on social media.
Let's have a look at some of the papers for you this morning. The front pages, the Guardian, featuring comments from the Mayor of London, says laws to stop the spread of fake news are not fit for purpose after misinformation online contributed to far-right protests. The paper says Sadiq Khan is urging ministers to review the online safety bill as soon as possible. Let's move on to the Times newspaper, reporting that police are examining links between far-right extremists and football hooligans amid fears of more violent clashes as the new season gets underway this weekend, of course. The paper says police forces are in contact with the English Football League and stadium security about tactics to prevent disorder.
The Telegraph reports that the supermarket chain Asda is to put more staff on checkouts. It's an attempt to attract customers back into the stores after admitting that self-service technology has reached its limit.
Suspended Labour councillor Ricky Jones has appeared in court today charged with encouraging violent disorder at an anti-racism protest in Walthamstow on Wednesday. He's been remanded in custody until next month. Since Wednesday last week, more than 30 people have been charged by the Met Police following disorder and antisocial behaviour across London.
Good evening. A man who used Facebook to encourage people to attack a hotel housing asylum seekers has become the first to be jailed for stirring up racial hatred during the far-right riots. Jordan Parler is starting a prison sentence of 20 months tonight after urging others to target the building. Others were also jailed today for similar crimes. It came as the Prime Minister warned that social media is not a law-free zone, and even people remotely involved will be put before the courts. Police have made almost 600 arrests, with around 150 people charged, and have promised there is more to come. Our correspondent Ben Chapman saw swift justice being dealt out at Leeds Crown Court.
The click of handcuffs is now being heard not just by those causing violence on the streets, but those like Jordan Parler sitting at home, stirring it up on their phones. He told his 1,500 Facebook friends that every man and his dog should smash this hotel in Leeds housing refugees, forcing it into lockdown when windows were later broken. Jailing him for 20 months, the judge said it didn't matter that he wasn't there himself.
Although you said that you had no intention of carrying out any act of violence, there can be no doubt that you were inciting others to do so. Otherwise, why post the comment? You expressed remorse, but by that time, it was too late.
On the same day as Parler's post, the real-world consequences of online words were seen in Rotherham when rioters attempted to set a hotel on fire. A man who posted online that was 100% the plan, father of three Tyler Kay, has been jailed for more than 3 years.
That's a reminder to everyone that whether you're directly involved or whether you're remotely involved, you're culpable and you will be put before the courts if you've broken the law.
On the streets, two men who joined a counter-protest against the far right in Leeds on Saturday were jailed for attacking a group of men on their way home. Adnan Ghafoor and Samir Ali said they lashed out after being racially abused. They received sentences of 18 months and 20 months. The judge said it made no difference if they were racially abused. The violence they responded with was illegal, shocking and distressing. And he said the law applies to everyone, no matter their race, religion or political persuasion. It also takes no account of stupidity, like pushing a burning wheelie bin and falling flat on your face right in front of the police. Stacey Vint from Middlesbrough was jailed for 20 months. The authorities hope the growing gallery of the convicted and the speed of their imprisonment will continue to deter others from violence this weekend.
And Ben, there were charges tonight also for suspended Labour councillor Ricky Jones.
That's right, and it perhaps proves what the judge said here today, that the law applies to everybody, no matter who they are. Ricky Jones, a Labour councillor who was suspended this week after being filmed addressing a crowd at a demonstration in London, has been charged with 1 count of encouraging violent disorder. He appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court, where a judge said he'd allegedly called far-right protesters disgusting Nazi fascists and suggested their throats should be cut. Prosecutors also allege he made a gesture encouraging others to act violently. Now, he didn't enter a plea today, but he was remanded in custody to appear in court again in September. Just another name added to the ever-growing list of people charged following behaviour and comments they've made both in public and online.
OK, Ben, thanks very much. Police have been urged to stay on high alert this weekend for further violent disorder. More protests are planned, and whilst thousands of officers will be on duty, it's left many fearful of a repeat of the violence. Here's our correspondent, Peter Smith.
The threat of more violence has not gone away. In Northern Ireland, police are now braced for a 6th night of rioting. 23 people have so far been arrested and 15 charged with offences.
The scenes we have seen across Belfast over the last week have been a disgrace. They have no place in our communities. Those who are intent on causing disorder or committing offences will be brought to justice. Anyone contemplating getting involved needs to understand the consequences of their actions.
Bashir was physically attacked in the street, his business targeted twice in the last week. He's lost faith in police to protect his community.
It's like you are in the school and somebody is bullying on you every single day and you are not doing anything. What do you think is going to happen later? He will continue doing that because there's no one stopping him from doing that. It's the same here, and that we are in that position.
There is a fear of a repeat of last weekend. Widespread rioting across the country culminated in a baying mob trying to set fire to a hotel in Rotherham with 240 asylum seekers stuck inside. We saw for ourselves how police were under attack, and the thin blue line was stretched thin. Remarkably, it was concerned local residents who managed to get the rioters to stop and brought an end to the violence. Today we've returned here. We've been told there is unhappiness that media reports have focused too much on the far right, and there are legitimate concerns being ignored. Frustration still festering in communities like this. So we came here to listen.
And I don't mind paying tax to feed children and to get these people out of off the streets and doorways, and our army personnel who are, living rough. But then you sort of look at a hotel which is full of asylum seekers and say it could be full of, the people who are living on the street.
They got rid of the fuel allowance when these people have come over. They've not paid tax in their life. When there's old people who've paid tax their entire life, they don't get their fuel allowance, and they just come over and they get it off for free. It's kind of like an injustice that you live here, but your government's giving better stuff to other people.
But you would agree, though, Elliot, that burning the hotel was not the way to express that?
It's wrong. The thing is, we live in a democracy, so you're okay to go and protest whatever you want, but don't be violent about it.
We will all agree that there's no justification for trying to burn a hotel or attacking it.
Well, people have said that they didn't condone violence. A peaceful process, yes. But all that's happened, at least one good thing, there's no more asylum seekers living on your doorstep.
The government is trying to address communities feeling overlooked. In Liverpool, the business secretary paid a visit to a library set alight and burgled during riots on Saturday night.
To see the damage to that library that was providing such a range of services to the community. As I walked in, people were still turning up with paperwork, coming for the kind of things that they've relied on that facility for. And then to see the smoke damage, the fire damage, incredibly distressing.
There is a hope that the peace of the last few nights will prevail, but police are not being complacent. 6,000 officers, described by the Prime Minister as a standing army, are now bracing themselves for the weekend ahead. Peter Smith, ITV News, Rotherham.
Well, Belfast is one of those cities on high alert, and our correspondent John Ray is there tonight. And John, there are protests there tonight, aren't there? We can see them behind you.
There are protests, but it's no worse than noisy at the moment. We have demonstration and counter-demonstration, but in a part of the world which knows more than most the costs and the consequences of division. Here we have literally another dividing line. What we have on this side are people who say that Northern Ireland should be welcoming to migrants, and across the way a much smaller group of people who say that they feel threatened by migration. Now the worry tonight is that this will descend into violence as it did at the weekend after exactly the same scenes here. The big difference tonight is that there is a huge police presence here. You can see they are literally keeping the two sides apart. But the night is young here, and there is still many hours of anxiety to go.